Good Monday afternoon, everyone. Welcome on in to a special, well, maybe not so special moving forward, but a new type of PWTorch Fireside Chat. I'm PWTorch Assistant Editor Zack Heydorn. Thank you for being with me. I certainly do appreciate it. And yeah, trying something a little bit new. I'm thinking this is going to stick. I'm hopeful that it will stick. But we'll do a live preview of Monday Night Raw. Why not, right? The ratings for Raw have been pretty darn impressive the last month, well, really since Triple H took over in a lot of ways. And so I thought it'd be fun to just get on here and shoot the breeze with you guys and shoot the breeze about tonight's show while it's all very fresh on our minds in terms of what's going to be upcoming and what's going to be coming out of the show and so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to preview Monday Night Raw. Once again, thank you for being here. Ask any question that you'd like in the chat. I'll make sure to get to that. We'll just take a look at the show top to bottom. This is the first week in a long time that WWE's had to go on head to head with the NFL. And so, I think that there has to be a part of Triple H as he's looking at booking these shows against Monday Night Football that goes, well, man, I just don't think that I want to put all the best stuff on these shows because we know that the ratings are going to be down from weeks in which you're not competing against Monday Night Football. That's a certainty. The NFL is a juggernaut in terms of, viewership. And so it's gonna pull away from viewership of Monday Night Raw. And I know that I can understand why that would be like why that'd be a prominent thought going, I'm going to hold on this. I'm going to hold on that. I want to do this when we have the biggest audience possible. But you can't do that though. You really can't. If you're Triple H, you got to keep going. You got to put on the best product that you have. You're not comparing yourself to, this week to last week, but it's this week, this year to this week, last year. And I think if he can show growth there, the year over year comparison, that is when that's good. I mean, that's going to be a win. Right. That is going to be a win for him. And that's important. I think that's important to show that sustained growth that he's shown. SmackDown, over 2.2 million viewers, I believe. That's a strong number. We've had Monday Night Raw the last handful of weeks, over 2 million in average viewership. So you want to keep that trend. You want to keep that trend going. Dr. Ross, hello. Thank you for joining me today. Appreciate it, my friend. Thanks for being here. So with that in mind, Triple H booking against Monday Night Football and booking to kind of continue that growth, albeit on a different grading scale and a different grading curve with Monday Night Football very prevalent. When you look at this card today and the show tonight, it's got some big stuff on it, to try to keep momentum in a Monday Night Football world. Edge, for one thing, is wrestling on tonight's show. He's going to wrestle Dominik Mysterio. Edge doesn't wrestle on television all that often. He did in his hometown a handful of weeks ago against Damian Priest in Toronto. That was, a fun match. And a match that did good numbers. So Edge coming back is a big indicator that Triple H is not going to take this kind of Monday Night Football competition lying down. Johnny Gargano is going to have his essentially his debut on Monday Night Raw tonight in the ring. That's big. I'm so interested to see what type of numbers Gargano can pull in the quarter hour ratings, just because he's such a big name with wrestling fans who are just diehard wrestling fans. But does the average casual viewer know Johnny Gargano? We'll see. Does it matter? I don't know. He'll be able to showcase himself out there. That's for sure. She'll be able to showcase himself and go and kind of show that casual world what he's able to do. But again, that's a card. That's a card that Triple H is playing tonight opposite the first week of Monday Night Football in 2022. Big piece. And then you've got a women's tag team title match tonight as well. And you've got Bianca Belair, who's going to be issuing an open challenge and put her Raw Women's Championship on the line tonight. So you look at that in aggregate, that's, you're playing a lot of your cards, women's title match, tag title match, Edge, and special in-ring debut. That to me does not look like a card or a show that's admitting defeat when it comes to ratings. Like, this to me looks like an attempt to truly not compete with the NFL, but compete with themselves from a year ago. And I think that's a logical conclusion based on how much is in this show tonight. To break down the specifics, let's start with we got a question in here from Dr. Ross about Dominik Mysterio and Rey Mysterio. So let's start there. Let's start with the Edge and Dominik Mysterio match. I was kind of blown away by the segment last week with Edge, with Rey, with Dominik, and with the Judgment Day. I just did not have high hopes for Dominik as a heel because he just never showed range as a performer in my eyes. Like, he did stuff and he talked and he wrestled and it was fine, but I never felt like an emotional connection to what he was doing specifically. And because of that, I just wasn't sure if he'd be able to find kind of that part of his personality to work heel in an effective way. But man, first night out last week, I thought he showed something. I thought his body language showed something, his mannerisms, kind of just the way that he looked, at his dad, and the way that he kind of glowingly looked at members of the Judgment Day and Rhea Ripley. I thought he walked that line really nicely. And so because of that, I'm very much excited to see what he does tonight, wrestling as a heel for the first time. Because look, he was able in the ring to lean into in the ring, especially as part of a tag team with his dad. Like, he was able to play into and tap into the excitement of the Rey Mysterio style match, right? The match that his dad executed for so many years and did so well. Dominik has some exciting moves. He can go off the top rope, but can he show a more vicious heel side that goes along now with that heel character? That's what we're looking for tonight, or what I'm looking for anyway, tonight during his match is like, okay, you kind of showed a little bit of a character as a heel, but can you now wrestle like a heel in the ring? And we'll see. The other element at play here is that you've got Edge, who storyline wise is just super connected with Rey. They're basically brothers, they're family, and he's now going up against Rey's son. And my thought is, like, if they want to try to like thread that needle carefully and kind of tell this offshoot story, you can tell one with Edge and Rey right now, where it's, hey, Rey goes to Edge and is telling him like, hey, look, like, I know Dominik is in the wrong place right now with the Judgment Day, but he's still my son. Don't lay a hand on him, et cetera, et cetera. And you can start to fan those flames and have like a kind of like a triangle type story going on. So I want to see Edge and Rey tonight in particular, and how that plays out, because they set that up nicely last week with Rey coming to the ring and just telling Edge, no, like, look, have a little bit of mercy, for the lack there of a better word. That's essentially what he was saying. And then later in the show, as Dr. Ross is saying here in the comments, that Rey said that he would never lay a hand on his son. And presumably you wouldn't want one of your best friends to do that either, right? I mean, it's just, you just don't do that to someone else's kid. And so I want to see how that all plays together. I think if you've got some really good storytellers involved here, you've got Edge, who we all know is one of the best. Rey, he's able to bring such a sympathetic side to the story. And then Dominik, who's just kind of this like lost soul type character. Add into that the Judgment Day factor, and I think what you've got here is a really solid mid-card story. This isn't going to be main event level stuff, but it's a solid, mid-card feud with some big time players. And then we get another heavy dose of it on tonight's show. So I'm excited for that. My gut, and tell me what you guys think about this, but my gut is that we don't get like a clean finish here, right? I don't think Edge is pinning Dominik with a spear 1, 2, 3. I think that'd be a mistake for sure. Dominik has a little momentum here, and the Judgment Day have a little momentum here too. And so my thought is there'd be some kind of shenanigans, maybe even with Ray, due to the fact that Dominik is either getting beat up so bad by Edge or, just Ray trying to stop everything from happening before it really starts. So that's my thought. And then of course, you can always just have the Judgment Day interfere too to avoid a finish, which maybe more likely than anything, if this were Vince McMahon booking the show, I definitely would go that direction in terms of analysis, but he's not. So we'll have to see how Triple H wants this stuff to play out. Dr. Ross, when will Ray and Dominik wrestle one another? Well, the story is going to be, right, that Ray won't do it. He's not going to do it. And just when you think he will do it, he won't. And then eventually, obviously, we know that this is leading towards a Ray versus Dominik match. Because that's such a deeply personal story, father and son like battling each other. Oh man, you'd think you'd want the bright lights of WrestleMania for that, right? Biggest payday for both those guys. But WrestleMania has become like, there's this kind of like celebratory connotation that WrestleMania has with wrestling. And because of that, I don't know if you green light, a father-son match, which will have been brewing for months on end until that point on that type of show. And so I wonder if you pull the trigger on this sooner than later. Maybe you do it at the Royal Rumble. Maybe you do it at the December pay-per-view. And then you kind of just get through it. And then Dominik goes off on his own. And then if you want to bring them right back together, you can like kind of have a reunion story at WrestleMania or next year's WrestleMania or whatever. Like you can always play that card and have them come back. But I think you get to this match sooner than later. Not like next week or anything like that. But I think WrestleMania is too long and too much of an event that wouldn't fit the bill of this type of rivalry and this type of personal rivalry. So that's my thought on that. I mean, I don't know. I suppose when is Extreme Rules in 4 weeks? So I suppose you could try to heat it up for that potentially. You got the Extreme Rules stipulation in that case, which is kind of in some ways it would fit the feud, the story that they were telling, but in other ways it very much would be tough to watch just because it's father and son. So we'll see, but they could heat it up that quick even. But I think sometime this winter before maybe right after the new year that we get that match. Thanks, Dr. Ross. Appreciate it. And thank you to everybody who's joining me here today. Really appreciate it. Glad you're here. We will be doing these more often now to set the table for the big wrestling shows right before they happen. We'll do this for Raw. We will try to do the same thing for NXT. We'll try to do the same thing for Dynamite and SmackDown. So again, we'll do our best. And that's the plan, to just kind of be in front of you guys more often and really just get the community involved here and get the environment going here on this channel. So keep it locked here for more stuff. Do me a favor, like this video, subscribe to the channel. Would be very much appreciated and very very helpful. Yeah, Dr. Ross, that's for sure. Nobody needs to see the eye for an eye match again, and I mean nobody. No. All right. Let's move to the women's tag title situation. We've got Raquel Gonzalez and Aaliyah defending against Damage Control, Io Sky, and Dakota Kai. A rematch of the tournament finals that crowned Gonzalez, or I said Gonzalez. Shame on you, Zach. Raquel Rodriguez and Aaliyah won the big tag team tournament in the women's division to crown women's tag team champions. A surprising and curious win when it happened, just because of how much juice they were giving to Damage Control and Bayley's faction and those two women from NXT, Kai and Sky. Like, it was just curious. It was like you're pushing this heel group, and when they have a chance to get some gold around their waist, you're not pulling the trigger, and you're not pulling the trigger in favor of this kind of hodgepodge tag team that's just kind of been put together for the tournament, right? So it was a little curious. To me, tonight is about righting that wrong. That's why this match exists. You had Damage Control beat Bianca Belair and beat Asuka and beat Alexa Bliss at the Clash at the Castle event, and they've got a little momentum back. And I just don't think you can throw cold water on that, on them again. You gotta go with them here. You gotta run with them. If that's the group that you're gonna feature, go ahead, feature it. I mean, that's to me, that's key. What's up, Sir Fark? Great, thanks for being here, man. Appreciate it. Always love seeing you in the chat. We're previewing Monday Night Raw, so join us in that endeavor. When you're trying to build a new team like that, you gotta feed some momentum. If it's hard enough to get momentum in the professional wrestling business, right? That's a hard enough endeavor. But when you have it, you gotta go with it, and the machine of WWE has got to get behind it. And so that's why them not being the tag team champions right now is so curious, and why I think tonight they're going to fix that. And so my guess is that it's probably a win that's just laced with heel tactics and heel shenanigans. And then there you go. Now you got the women's tag titles on a team that I don't want to say Raquel Rodriguez and Aaliyah don't matter, but they're just not positioned around the same type of act that Sky and Dakota Kai are. In Bayley. I mean, Bayley's going to be hovering around the main event in the women's division for her, foreseeable future. Those tag titles will mean a lot more around the waist of Sky and Dakota Kai than they do Raquel Rodriguez and Aaliyah. And that's just the fact of it. What's up, Dennis? Thanks for being here, man. Appreciate it. Always good to see you in the chat as well. Let me know what you're thinking about Monday Night Raw tonight. We're discussing the women's tag title situation. And Dr. Ross, that's the thing. The Raquel and Aaliyah team is starting to grow, and that's the problem. They're getting a little bit of momentum here too. And so you kind of have to choose at this point, because I don't if Raquel Rodriguez and Aaliyah lose those titles, they really don't have much else to stand on as a tag team. Those belts are just propping them up. Because they don't have a storied relationship with one another. They don't have any kind of personal grudge feud going on SmackDown. So it'll be very tough to tell a story. And maybe this is how you get Raquel Rodriguez back to being a heel, with something opposite Aaliyah. I don't know. But it's going to hurt them to lose those belts. But that's the thing. Your second point there is the key. I'm not sure Kai and Sky can absorb another loss. I mean, they can, but should they? Definitely not. They have the higher upside, I think, as a team. I think Raquel Rodriguez can be a player in the women's division, no question, no doubt about it. But as a tag team, though, Sky and Kai around Bayley, that's money. That is money, especially with what Bayley potentially has on the table. And so that's why I think we're going to go the way that we're going to go today. And Kai and Sky are gonna win that thing. Johnny Gargano let's talk a little bit more in depth about him, because he's on the Raw main roster. He's on a WWE main roster. If you've been following Johnny Gargano's career, the fact that that's a reality is pretty crazy. Like, just in a Vince McMahon WWE, I just don't think there was an avenue for that guy on the main roster. Certainly not a good one. And now, just a handful of months later, here he is in a heavily promoted, return match. He's getting a lot of time on WWE social media, talking about the match. I mean, they're trying to leverage this thing and use this thing to draw a number. Johnny Gargano, like, it's pretty crazy, and it's fortunate for him and fortunate for us, because look, Johnny Gargano does not have the size, the body type that Vince McMahon liked, but man, he has a connection with the audience, a deep connection with the audience. It's like, I would put it not on the level, not quite on the level of Daniel Bryan WrestleMania 30 type connection, but close, close, and the same type of connection where you've got an audience of fans that genuinely want to see the guy, the person Johnny Gargano succeed, not just like Johnny Gargano in a storyline against somebody wrestling. No, but a genuine, like, man, we want to see this guy win. We want to see him succeed on the main roster because we like him. And that, there's not a lot of guys that have that, there's not. Right now, I think it's Johnny Gargano's got it. I think Sami Zayn has it as well. Like, deep down, since he's playing this heel character, but I think he still absolutely has kind of that connection. And now Triple H is leaning on this Gargano thing. He like leaning right on into it, and we don't know his opponent for tonight. I don't believe it's been announced at this time. I don't think it's going to be Austin Theory yet, even though clearly they're going that direction, right? Where they're going to build towards an Austin Theory versus Johnny Gargano match. That's the right call. Tonight, I really would hold on any kind of angle during the match tonight with Johnny Gargano. The thing with Gargano is he's got a whole bunch of passionate fans that are super invested in what he's doing, no question, and they drive the reactions that he gets and everything. The nuance there is there's a lot of fans who do not know Johnny Gargano, who aren't familiar with his work on the indies, not even familiar with his work in NXT. So this, you have to establish him with this match. And so I think that means like 6 minutes, maybe like 5 to 6 minutes, and then a clean victory, but a victory in which he's able to show what he can do and show the audience why he's so likable and why people are drawn to him. It's a tough task. It's a tough task, but that's the goal. And so I would give him that win. I'd showcase him. And if you want to do an angle with Theory, after the match or backstage, fine. I would hold it to next week, though. We've got 4 weeks until the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. Like, hold off on it. Don't play that card yet. And so I would just keep it short, but long enough for him to showcase what he can do and then move on. You have to set the hook, kind of, right? There's a fishing analysis. You're going to have all these fish kind of hovering around Johnny Gargano, watching him for the first time. And WWE needs to like set a hook in a way that grabs people, so that they want to see Johnny Gargano again. That's the goal here. And so I don't think you muddy that up with any kind of angle. So I'm expecting a clean victory. We don't know who the opponent is, and as Azan says here, maybe it's Cedric Alexander. That'd be a great opponent first night out for Johnny Gargano. Gargano can do anything with him. Alexander is great. He can sell. He's kind of knows the business of what's at hand in terms of making Gargano. And so I think that would be a great call. And debuting, yes, you're right, Dennis. Debuting as that Gargano allows him to tweak his already over gimmick. He can now tell a longer story about Gargano starting from this point. And man, they've got so much that they can tell with him, starting with this Theory storyline, which I think makes a lot of sense right now. Yeah, I'm taking the under on that, Dr. Ross. 15 minutes. I mean, look, it's not that I don't want to see Johnny Gargano in a 15-minute match. I do. I mean, who's going to say no to that, right? I certainly wouldn't. And the guy is certainly talented enough to have a 15-minute TV match without question, no question. But I think, for as fun as that might be to watch, more calculated, more strategic booking, I think, is necessary in this instance, just because you want to get him over as a winner, faster than 15 minutes in my eyes. But we'll see. Call me out tomorrow at this time on our NXT preview show. Hey, we'll, if I'm eating my words, I'm eating my words. So be it, Dr. Ross. Was this announced live, Gable versus Johnny Gargano? Because that would also be excellent for the same reasons that I said for Alexander. Same thing here with Chad Gable. That'd be a great opponent. And yes, Sir Fark, on your comment here, I worry that Triple H is going to go the way of Tony Khan, though, with expecting everyone to be an NXT veteran viewer. We need more main roster exposition. Yes. So, yeah, you do. They absolutely do. You do not want to Tony Khan this thing if you're Triple H. You really don't, because there's a way bigger audience, that has no idea who Johnny Gargano is in all likelihood. And if they do, it's kind of on the periphery. Oh yeah, I remember that NXT guy at some point. Where the hell's he been? Right? Like, I don't know. You got to start over. And so I thought they did. They thought they did a nice job up to this point in that starting over phase. Sir Fark, like, I thought Johnny Gargano's in-ring promo when he first returned to Raw grabbed people in, and he told people, I'm Johnny Gargano, I'm Johnny Wrestling, I'm a former NXT champion, I've been away, having my baby. Like, that to me was a good foundation setter from a verbal perspective. Then you kind of they started going down with the story of him and Austin Theory. I thought they told that well in terms of what Johnny Gargano was in NXT to Theory. And so it's not a direct correlation, but it indirectly tells the viewer that, hey, Johnny Gargano was a big talent in NXT. That's important. So pay attention. And so, but that's why it's so important for them tonight to establish him, to continue and laying that groundwork, as you said, Sir Fark, on this is who he is. This is why he's important. This is why people like him. He's a winner, and then you go from there. So yeah, in general, you do. They definitely do. And I think Azan, like, this to me, honestly, is a little bit different because they're clearly going for mystery here. I think they're going for people wondering, who is this guy? And so that changes the narrative a little bit on this topic. It's not like where everyone's supposed to know who Lumis is. The narrative from the commentary team is like, oh, it's Lumis. We don't know why he's here. We don't know what he's up to. We don't know why he's targeting Miz. We don't know any of that. So I think that makes a little bit more sense. It hangs on a thread, but I think it makes a little bit more sense. What are you guys expecting for that angle tonight? I mean, I'm kind of at the place right now where it's like, okay, it's cool maybe to kind of like spot Lumis. Okay, there's Lumis, and okay, there's a Miz segment, so Lumis is going to be involved. I wonder how they're going to do it. Oh, he's going to kind of slide out from under the ring, and they're going to have this great shot. All very entertaining to watch, in my opinion. But you don't want it to get old. And I think it's teetering on the edge of getting a little too old. You can't. It's like Braun Strowman strength stunts. You know, they're entertaining, and then they get to the point where you're like, oh man, I can't wait to see what Braun Strowman is going to destroy, or what size vehicle he's going to tip over today. But then it's like, what else is there? You know, let's get on with it. and I think we're at the same place with this Loomis thing. For me, I think you have to just show something else, show another chapter. We've been in chapter 1. We've seen, the weird Loomis around, yeah, there's work to be done. Yep, exactly. That's the best way to put it. There's work to be done now. The weirder soccer thing could get old quick. It already has. Get on with it. What's the next chapter? I think we're at that point, or at least we're getting to that point. And it's one of those things where you don't want to cross that line first. You want to pivot, change directions before you cross that line where people are like, oh God, like don't. I don't want any more weird Loomis stuff. I want storyline progression. We're at that point, in my opinion. So, and I think we actually might see that tonight. Yeah, if we get Azan Loomis taking out Ciampa, like at least that's another story. Like it's not another story because it ties right into what they're doing, but it's still just like a smidge different than him like kidnapping the Miz again. I would actually like to see a little bit more storyline progression than this is on, like some kind of why, some kind of like kind of introspective on Loomis, and on what is he doing there? If he's not supposed to be there, why is he there every single week? So I want some like true progression and the why answered here, or at least hinted at least, kick that can down the road a little bit. Yeah, Dennis, appreciate it. Just going to say this. I don't watch the E, but it's so nice to not be hearing about all the AEW drama and focus on a damn wrestling show. Yes, that's kind of the thought I had, over the weekend. And we've been planning on doing these, these live preview shows for quite some time. And are introducing them this week. So again, if you're tuning in for the new right now, we've got a Raw preview show today, right now, and we'll do an NXT preview live tomorrow, same time. Wednesday for Dynamite, same time, and then Friday we'll pick up and do one for SmackDown as well. So lots of ways to engage with us on the YouTube channel here, and yeah, we're just going to keep growing it with content and growing it with cool stuff and creating a really fun environment for all you guys to interact in. And then, of course, Thursday afternoon is our flagship fireside chat. Tyler, Sage, and I, and you talking all the news and what the hell's going to drop this week. Who the heck knows? But man, yeah, we'll see a little bit later. But yeah, thanks, DK. Yeah, it is refreshing to talk about something else too, even if you're not watching WWE right now. I'm with you. I needed a fresh topic, as for sure. Azan, is Logan as in Logan Paul? Is that what you mean? That would be that'd be pretty funny. Like that's the type of thing that I'm into right now. Like that's a valuable storyline progression. It ties Loomis to somebody significant in Logan Paul. I'd be up for that. I'd be up for watching that story play out. I really would. Good call. Just see, I'm not the only one either, Sir Fark. Not the only one who liked that idea. Oh, and Tracy, thank you for joining. Thank you for being here as always. Really appreciate it. And yeah, we're excited to keep growing the content here. And we did some news stuff before, and decided to kind of pivot the daily content to more of live previews so that we can get you guys on here and grow kind of this community that's been really, really fun to engage with throughout the last few months. So we just want to keep getting it bigger. So if you're watching for the first time, thank you. Like our video, subscribe to the channel, and that'd be much appreciated for fresh new content with the PWTorch tone all around it every single day. Okay. let's go ahead here and we will wrap up with some discussion on the Bianca Belair Open Challenge. Interesting, right? She's going to defend the Raw Women's Championship tonight. We don't know in what segment, and we don't know against who. Obviously, it's going to be an it's going to be an open challenge. Zach, duh. It's so hard to think about who this might be, and maybe it's just because I don't know, I'm just missing somebody obvious. But Tracy is on Dr. Ross or Fark. Drop it in. I mean, any idea who you guys think is going to be Bianca Belair's opponent here? Like, is it just going to be Bayley? And they're going to try to just hot shot that match a little bit, a la Jon Moxley and CM Punk, maybe. There I go. I couldn't even go a show without mentioning Punk's name. Anyway, that's just it. Who can this genuinely be? Like, you want it to be impactful enough where it matters. You don't want it to be some like just jobber person, right? And that's the thing. I don't think you want it to be this level person either. Like, I don't know that you can play the open challenge card and then have that open challenge be, Carmella. We've been there and done that. Same thing with Zelina Vega. That's same thing, DK. Like, I just don't know, because when you put out open challenge, there is like a hint of expectation there, where it's not necessarily like the biggest star in the world, but a kind of a surprise, right? Like, I think you're kind of showing your cards a little bit, and you can't trot out like a Zelina Vega or even this Dr. Ross. I just don't know. I would not feel good about a Nikki ASH or Doudrop, because if you're going to do that match, just announce it, right? Like, if that's the match that you want to do, just announce that match and then do it. But the open challenge to me suggests some sort of surprise. And that's why I'm a little confused as to who it might be. I don't think it's going to be Bayley. I mean, it could be Bayley, but I'm not going to go down that route. I am in the camp at this point of it. Yeah, maybe somebody call up from NXT. I think that could be what we're looking at here. So yeah, maybe it's an Indy Hartwell. Alba Fryer. Yeah, could be Mike. And Mike, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Yeah, it could be Mandy Rose. That would certainly fit the bill. Dennis, like, that is, it has to be like, maybe not quite on that level because she's NXT Women's Champion, but close to that. Or maybe it's like somebody new, or not new debuting, but like a Tegan Knox, right? Like, maybe it's somebody like her who, is obviously not on a Mandy. She's not on a Mandy Rose level right now from a booking perspective. She hasn't been around in a very long time, but she would be a surprise. And I think she'd pop the crowd. She'd pop social media. Like, that would work. Mandy Rose would work. Indy Hartwell, I think, would work. Alba Fire would work too. So that's who I think it has to be. But the really interesting thing here is there's no good guess, because Mandy Rose, for example, Dennis's guess here, that to me works well. But she's on the NXT brand. Do you want her? I'm assuming she's not going to win the Raw Women's Championship. Do you want her to debut and take a loss, even if it's a kind of like a weird loss, or it just goes to a disqualification or what have you? That's not the best way to debut your talent from NXT, especially your top talent like Mandy Rose is becoming. Yeah, you don't want to do that. And so that's why I wouldn't have it be her. So I'm trying to walk the line here and find like the Indy Hartwells of the world. So she plays, like I said, Alba Fire plays. Tegan Knox would be a surprise. That would play. Shayna Baszler, I think, makes sense because it is a surprise from SmackDown. Charlotte makes sense because she hasn't been around for a really, really long time. Now, I don't know that you want to spend the equity of a Charlotte versus Bianca Belair match all in one kind of unpromoted night, because I think that there's money there, right? So I don't know that I'd be doing that so far, but it certainly would fit the bill for what a kind of a open challenge competitor would have been positioned as. So I think that works. Oh God, Steven, you coming in hot with these with these predictions. My goodness gracious. Brandy Rhodes is the new name. We reported on PWTorch.com that she had a match, a singles match with a competitor that was not named, and it was one of the private kind of NXT live events at the Performance Center that they just do for them. That's it, no fans. And she wrestled there. Yeah, hope not. That would certainly be interesting. Yeah, Dennis, that would drive some drama for sure. That might steal the conversation away for a little bit from the old NFL and Monday Night Football, and everybody hoping that Russell Wilson passes for a lot of touchdowns because of their fantasy team. So that could work. I like the hook of this for tonight because it's not clear cut. I have my notes here too that I think it's Bianca Belair has to get in the middle of something really important. You know, she's been on the periphery of things for quite some time. And really since SummerSlam. And even before that, like Bianca Belair has been the Raw Women's Champion since WrestleMania. She did not have a slate of opponents ready for her. Dr. Ross. Sorry, I got to just hold my thought there because, yeah, on the list of things that are not happening tonight, I am confident in saying that is on that list for sure. And that would probably drive even more conversation than Brandy would. That's for sure. But good stuff. I like it. Anyway, so Bianca Belair, she just has not been the focal point of the women's division. She's the champion and a good one at that, but something else has always been going on, like around her title reign. Like even when she was feuding with Becky, right? It was about Becky. Like it was about Becky getting her shot, and it was Becky earning an opportunity, and it was Becky turning babyface at the event. Not so much on Bianca Belair. And look, there's a time and a place, and I think that angle and Belair's involvement in it elevated her as champion for sure. But she hasn't had that in a while, and she didn't have it coming out of WrestleMania either. She did not have a made-ready slate of credible heel opponents. And I think she's in that space right now too, where she's kind of floating a little bit until they hit go on the program with Bayley, and they're inching towards that. And I think we could see that as early as Extreme Rules, but it's like until we see it, she's in this holding pattern, because I don't think anybody will truly believe that Belair would get beat before they go ahead and do that match with Bayley. So it's like you got to play that card soon, or else every title match you put her in, like tonight, in which you try to draw a number, you're stuck, because everybody knows what's going to happen, until you do the Bayley stuff. So, and plus the Bayley stuff is going to be really good. It's going to be really good material for her, for Bayley and for Bianca. And that's like, a good, solid, credible opponent for Bianca Belair to have right now in Bayley. But they just got to get there. It's like they're hesitant to pull the trigger. I advocated for them to put that on the Clash at the Castle event, just because I think Bianca needs this feud. I think she absolutely needs this feud to keep her title reign hot. And slow playing it is okay, but they're getting to that point where they really gotta pull the trigger and do it. Yeah, Sasha and Naomi. I don't know. I don't know what's up with them. In an interview today, we reported on PWTorch.com too. Sasha said, like, hey, stay tuned in terms of what she does next in her career. So you could read that as a tease. You could read that as her being truthful and just saying, I don't know. So stay tuned. Or I do know and stay tuned. Or it could be that, like, you know, she's not coming back. We'll see. But I don't think you're going to bring them back. I don't think you just bring Sasha Banks back. I will say that, Azan. I think you are going to bring back Sasha and Naomi together, provided you get that to work out. And I don't know why you wouldn't be able to. That's the play. And I think you set up Sasha and Bayley after tonight. If they're coming back, again, I don't have any reporting that they're back, that they've signed, nothing. I'm saying hypothetically, if they come in and they return to the company and you do the right thing and you put Io Sky and Dakota Kai over tonight and make them the tag team champions, you've got a ready-made hot feud for the WWE Women's Tag Titles right there. Sasha and Naomi against Io Sky and Dakota Kai, Damage Control. That's probably the hottest women's tag team feud that they've had since the tag titles were born. Well, that's saying something, because that was a long time. That was a long time ago. And so, yeah, I mean, that to me writes itself. So even if they're going to come back, Azan, I think you bring them back as a tag team, and you go with that for a while. Maybe they're chasing, right? You know, I mean, you could do some really cool 6-woman tags, you know, with Bianca and Sasha and Naomi against Damage Control. There's all sorts of things you can do, but I think right now they function as a good as a tag team, especially coming back as a tag team since they left as a tag team. My 2 cents. Yeah, Naomi and the Bloodline. I love that idea. I think it would add some, just some flair to the group. It would add somebody else for the players in the Bloodline to play off of. You've got, Sami Zayn playing off of Naomi would be hilarious to watch. Reigns and her would be fun to watch too. Solo Sikoa, and then of course, the Usos. That would be very interesting. And I think she could pull it off. We don't have like a good sense of Naomi as a heel because she's never really been a heel, like a true tried and true heel. So we don't know, but I think she's got a good presence about her. She clearly has plenty of charisma. And so I sit here and think that she could absolutely kind of play that heel Bloodline role and make it work. And yeah, Dr. Ross, like, take the title off Liv, you put it on Bianca Belair, Naomi, and now you have more gold for the Bloodline, and you kind of fix the Liv Morgan the Liv Morgan title reign, I guess, that I think has been a mess. But hey, that's for the SmackDown preview, which will come up on Friday right here on the PWTorch YouTube channel. I guess you're right. Yep, Sir Fark, thank you for checking me on that. She was heel in 2015, 2016. Good call. But you saw it there too, I think. And honestly, she played heel there, but I would not look back at that time like to judge the prospects of her playing a heel in 2022 because she was pretty green back then. And she's got a lot of years under her belt, a lot of matches under her belt, a lot of promos and experience now that I think lends itself even better to her playing that heel role in the Bloodline than it would have been all those years ago. So it's like, it might even be a blessing that it didn't happen then and it could happen now, because I think she's just more polished as a performer right now and can make it work in a more believable way. So, all right, guys, that's Monday Night Raw. So I appreciate you guys being here. I very much do. Azan, Dennis, Sir Fark, Tracy, Dr. Ross. Who am I missing here? Steven with the brandy comment. Oh man, you guys are the best. You guys are the best. Thank you for joining me. This is a new endeavor in the kind of going live before the shows of the week and previewing those shows live here with you guys, with your comments, with your questions, and all the above. So please join us. Continue to join us. Tell a friend about the channel. Like the video. Subscribe to our channel. We've got new content every single day coming up on here. So I thank you all. Thank you, Dennis. Very much appreciated, my friend. PWTorch.com got you covered live tonight during Monday Night Raw with Wade's analysis and Danny's alternative perspective analysis on tonight's show. And then, of course, the Wade Keller podcast post show coming up after. Wade will be hosting tonight, not me, but you get your fix. You'll fix there too. So I appreciate you guys. We'll be here tomorrow for NXT. Thank you very much, and we'll talk to you all very soon.